We've only been using it for about 15 minutes maybe. So it stopped working, E15 lights on. So that tells you that there's a tray under here, and in there there's a float switch. So there's water in the bottom. So we've got to take it apart to find out what's going on. I think I know what the problem is, but obviously there's water in the tray, so we've got to get in there anyway and dry that out. So I've turned the water off, I've killed the power. I'm going to take this off and have a look and see what's going on. So we've got to get this cover off. There's 6 screws, they're T20s. So if we get these out, there's more than that, but we don't need to take the top panel off. So I'm going to leave, there's what's it, 1, 2, 3, 4, so there's 6 at the top, I'm going to leave them in. This one stayed in here, just put the torch drive in it, now get it out, right, that's that bit. Now put this door back up, grab hold of it, and it drops down, there's pegs at the top, and these may or may not come out, but that's not a massive problem. Now the first thing is obviously there's water there, and water isn't going to come up from the tray and land in there, and there's also water in this little channel here, which kind of confirms what I hoped it was. I think this one had something just holding the door open, but obviously we've got to carry on because we're not for sure, and I'm guessing that that's channel guides it down into that tray because there's a little funnel there, or spout, whatever you want to call it, but the fact that there's water there means it's obviously come out, and there was water on the floor, sort of either side, more kind of that side, which that kind of confirms. So hopefully I've got away with just a leaky door seal or just it being propped open. I was hoping this was going to be screwed on, but it's not. It looks like there's 2 clips quite far back, quite long things. So we're going to have to lift this thing up, get a hand underneath it, unclip these clips, and then this should pull out. It's the theory. They kind of, there it is. That's not too bad. Yeah, I don't know if you could yank that off, but I needed to lift that. It wouldn't come on, I don't want to be too brutal with it. Right, I've got 2 more T20s to take out. One's up there, one's up there. Probably a good idea to hold on to the screw so you don't drop it. I'm not saying that's what just happened, but there we go. They're threaded. They're different to the 6 we took out earlier. Now this trim has to come out. It's a bit fiddly, but you have to sort of get underneath the top of it and pull it towards you, and then it will come out. Put that to one side, and then this foam insulation can come out. It's hard to make out on the camera, but there, that little bit there, that's our float. It's basically polystyrene. And if I get my hand in there, excuse the camera trickery. I don't know if you can see it, but it's wet. So we need to dry that out anyway. I'm going to check all these hoses now, make sure none of that's leaking. What I'm going to do is this pipe, I think our water's been coming down there, and then there's a channel that leads directly to the float. Theoretically, if I can dip a bit of kitchen towel down there, see that's wet, and there's a ridge on that little channel that float sits in. So if there was a leak from there, I suspect it probably wouldn't run all the way back up here, because this looks like it's sloping very slightly. So I think we're in business. I think our problem is water coming down there, and the fact we had it on that tray that lives kind of here, and that this channel had water in it. I think that's what our problem is. But for now, I'm going to get this dry and then try and get you in here to have a look to see what condition the pipes are in. I hope you can see that that's all dry. The puddle sort of went in a straight line across there, and then just to the left of it, you can't see it, but you can see like a layer of dust. So I'm quite happy that water hasn't been spread across here. I'm pretty convinced now that my problem was this bit here. But that's the float chamber, and there's the float. It's just a piece of polystyrene. There's an inlet there, so if water gets in this part, it can find its way to the float to trigger the code. And there's also a channel that leads from this bit. So don't panic, it might be something as simple as that, but just out of interest, that's the pump, and that's the part where the filter lives, the bit you sort of unscrew. So if you need to get to the pump, same thing again, take the front panel off, pull this lower trim off, and there it all is. Right, put this back together now. Got to figure out how they go. Insulation, this only goes round one way. There's a slot that lines up with this hole here, and there's a slot that lines up with our tube. There it goes. Stick it in the bottom, seems to hold it in a little bit better. And then just make sure the top's where it needs to be. Now we've got to get this metal plate back in. There's two lugs here, which clip on here and here. There's also the profile of this is moulded into the plastic here, so you can see where if you're right. But if you get the top in and line the screws up, get the bottom in, it should go in fairly straightforward. So line the screws up, get the top in, and then clip the bottom in. Here we go. Now we've got two T20s to put back in. One here. One over here. Next bit, we need to put our tray on, and this just clips in. Now these clips, they sit below the lowest screw, and they just pop over this hook like that. So you've got a little cut out. You can see that it's the slope of it goes inside this, and then there's the little cut out there on the plate, and this hooks over it. So they just sit in like that. Now our front panel has got these slots, and they line up with the two pegs either side. So we've got to get the top in and then push the bottom on. Try not to knock our blocks off. So get that on. Just, you have to open it up a little bit to go over the top of the red block, and it should snap in. Now we can bring the door down and put our screws back in. Right, we'll do a test run now. Hopefully that's all good. Hopefully this one helps you out. If you've got this problem, this E15 fault code, don't panic. It might be something as simple as that door was slightly open, enough to make it work, but not enough to keep the water out. But I'm going to test it and prove that. This is just finished doing a test cycle. There's no E15 code, which is great, but more importantly, there's no water coming out the bottom of the thing. So I think that was our problem. Pizza cutter just jamming the door slightly, but obviously it filled the tray up, so at least we know where all that lot is now. Hopefully this one's helpful for you. If you can like and subscribe, help me grow the channel. I'll see you on the next one.